So, who are you fighting on this front, what ya? Tau? Orcs? Eldar?
Tyranids, actually. Do you know anything about these? Other than why they came to our galaxy, which you won't tell me?
Didn't I already do a Tyranids video? No I didn't. The closest I did was the Leviathan Box. Weird. Okay, I guess now's as good a time as any to do it. This codex was the first codex released for 10th edition, and it actually set the par for 40k in 10th edition, which almost no codex has actually met so far. Seriously, why do Tau only have 4 detachments? The 6 detachments for the Tyranids are as follows, with the following themes. Assimilation Swarm, based around Harvester units, which are mostly units with big mouths. Crusher Stampede, based around the monster keyword units, which there's a lot of, but there's a major issue with this detachment. Invasion Fleet, which is based around adaptability more than anything else. Synaptic Nexus, which I believe is the Index, but I can't remember that well, and is primarily based around area of effect psychics. And then Unending Swarm, which is built around movement and swarm units, and the last being Vanguard Onslaught, which is built around the Death Leaper unit. Somehow? Now, Tyranids have 2 army rules. Synapse, which allows a unit within 6 inches of a Synapse unit to roll 3d6 instead of 2d6 for their battle shock tests. Not bad, it essentially makes it impossible for battle shock a Tyranid unless you specifically force it as often as possible, like with a Psychomancer Necron. Shadow in the Warp is more well known from some of the books, with Tyranids being the bad guys. Once per battle, every enemy on the battlefield must make a battle shock test. These 2 in combination are kind of ingenious. Battle shock is a relatively new mechanic for 40k, and I think GW thought it was going to be more important than it really was, but forcing battle shocks can cause a lot of issues with certain enemies. For example, this could be a nightmare for Imperial Guards or Genestealer called Sir Lita Votan. But let's get back to those detachments. Let's talk about the different keywords in the Tyranids armies list. We've got Harvester, Monster, Vanguard, which are essentially Genestealer adjacent, and Endless Multitudes. Each of these builds into a specific or general detachment. What's the best for the monster keyword, for example? Did you say Crusher Stampede? Well, you're wrong. Synaptic Nexus actually works better. Why? Well, because of a very niche ruling that is easy to find as the minimum damage thing. Crusher Stampede's detachment rule says that when a Tyranids monster model from your army makes an attack, add 1 to the hit roll. If that model's unit is below starting strength, add 1 to wounds as well if it's below half strength. What's the issue? Look through the codex and you'll see all monster units but 1 have a single model in their units, and Carnifexes max at 2 models. Some people thought if you maxed a Carnifex at 2, killed 1 model, it'd still be at max strength because the minimum is 1. This was actually resolved in pretty much every edition before because of similar issues with, say, Sisters of Battle and such. Its starting strength is the number of wounds it starts with. If you have 2 Carnifexes, starting strength is 16 wounds. If you kill 1 model, it's half strength. If you deal 1 more damage, it's below half strength. If it counted as a fresh full unit, any attached units would unattach, like Old One-Eye, who can attach to Carnifexes. That doesn't happen though. And if it did work that way, killing 5 heavy intercessors wouldn't need a battle shock test then. This is a really old clarification that people get confused about every edition of Warhammer, Fantasy 40k, and Age of Sigmar. And with those one model units, half strength for them is half of their starting wounds, which is a lot because monsters and vehicles used to be the same keywords. No, seriously, that's why most stratagems mention both together. I spent a lot of time clarifying just this one rule, but it's hard to find despite coming up every 5 to 8 years. It's like the minimum damage of any attack is 1, even with damage reducer abilities. Neither of these rules are on the app. Come on, GW, please put this somewhere where one can find it easily. Synaptic Nexus is really just better though. The detachment lets you choose one of 3 options to boost your entire army. Invulnerability save of 5+, a +1 to charge or advance rolls, or a +1 to melee hits. These apply to everyone, not just a specific keyword. The Assimilation Swarm essentially lets the Harvester keyword units do what the Canoptic Reanimator do, but only if the Harvester is on an objective and the unit being healed is within 6 inches of the model. If it brings back a model with this ability, it goes to full wound, so no issues there. But if it doesn't bring back a model, it heals a D3, which is fine, honestly. Invasion Fleet is hyper-specific. It has 3 options which you must choose one at the start of the battle. One makes it when you're attacking swarm of infantry units, your attack gains sustained hits. Another causes attacks dealt to monsters or vehicle units to gain lethal hits. And the last gives attacks dealt to attached units, they gain the precision ability. Honestly, not great, not bad, but weirdly specific given you can only choose one of those 3 and it can't change for the entire battle. Unending Swarm's detachment rule essentially lets you move closer or further from an enemy that got hit if they're a part of the Endless Multitude keyword. This can allow these, usually swarm units, to be capable of charging and fighting an enemy that shot them. This is all on your opponent's turn though, so it's possible for this to backfire with enemy charging in. This honestly one of the only ones I've seen that allows similar to move within engagement range, which is neat. The last is Vanguard Onslaught, which allows all Tyranids to charge in a turn they fell back in, and allow those with the Vanguard Invader keyword to charge in turns that they advanced in. It allows the Death Leaper to become a Warlord, losing its Hunter Organism ability. Not sure why it even starts with this, but it seems a few of these keywords have the Fight First ability along with Stealth, Lone Operative, Infiltrator abilities, so watch out. Honestly, Tyranids should be the base for every codex to meet, but it seems as though every codex has been getting smaller, with the Space Marines getting the most if we include special chapter rules. Talon Custodes only getting 4 detachments. I feel the minimum should be 6, really. I don't know, some units seem to be forgotten. At least the Sisters got a detachment, but they still don't have a lot of units. Games Workshop needs to do better with the Codex rule sets. Hell, the rules are usually changed long before the codexes come out. Look at the Shield Host detachment in the Codex versus the Index. The Index added devastating wounds, which the Codex wasn't written for. But who are you fighting, what ya?
Tyranids, thanks for the information. Keep a range on the Death Leaper.
lone operative. You can't, send grenades and bombers and shove off.